This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Tonight on the South Today, government says Dunedin's new hospital is on track, but will only have the same number of beds as the current one. Wamaru's rabid readers enjoy the Rotarians' Bookorama. And all you wanted to know about alpine faults and tectonic plate movement is on offer at a Southern Roadshow. Kia ora, good evening, I'm Sophie Morris. The new Dunedin hospital will be about the same size as the current facility and have substantially fewer beds than promised. After much wrangling and a delay of more than a year, the detailed business case for the hospital has been signed off by Cabinet, with the Prime Minister and Finance Minister in Dunedin answering questions.
The concept images are out, a significant step in the new Dunedin Hospital project.
The shape and the scale is a little different, but it will still deliver the services that Dunedin needs.
The government has agreed to a 4-storey outpatient building planned to open in January 2025 and a 9-storey inpatient building which it's hoped will be ready by April 2028. Speaking with Otago Day Times health reporter Mike Houlihan, Finance Minister Grant Robertson wouldn't be drawn on patient bed numbers.
I'd need to go back and get the Ministry to talk that through with you, because while it's reconfigured, I think it still will be meeting most of the needs and most of the bed capacity issues that were raised with us. But I'd need to come back to you, Mike, with a bit more detail perhaps on that.
The original proposal mentioned an 8 or 9-storey main block with an adjacent 6-storey building. However, Minister Robertson says things change as projects like this develop.
It is the nature of these big projects that as you go through the business case process, the reason we do it is to identify how we can most effectively and efficiently build this.
The new Dunedin Hospital isn't the only large-scale health sector project the current government is undertaking, with other builds and upgrades across the country. Prime Minister Ardern says some of these projects are set to cater for mental health.
We've got smaller facilities, some of which will be from scratch, mental health and addiction facilities up and down the country that we're looking to either enhance or build as well.
The revised plan for Dunedin expects the new hospital will have 421 beds, 16 operating theatres with the capacity to expand to 21, and 30 intensive care beds, which can be increased to 40 if needed. The hospital site master plan, released in 2019, was developed for a 396-bed hospital with an additional 61 day beds and capacity to increase to 454 beds by 2043. All of that with a $1.47 billion budget. In Dunedin, the South Today.
The South woke up this morning shivering to the coldest frost of the year so far, with Dunedin Airport measuring minus 7.1 degrees at 7 a.m. There was plenty of frost on footpaths, roads and cars, with the lower portion of Duncan Street closed just before 8:30 this morning due to ice. Police say drivers need to clear frost and ice off their windows before driving to ensure they have a full range of vision to see clearly. They warn that those who don't could be issued with an infringement notice. Similar conditions are forecast for tomorrow. Wamaru's Rotary Bookorama is being held as a success this week, with about 100 book fans turning up to turn pages. And more than just locals attended the fair, with one person travelling from Hampden for the event.
There were massive queues outside Wamaru Rotary's Bookorama yesterday, before Waitaki District Councillor Jim Hopkins enthusiastically threw the doors open. The massive crowds pleased the organisers.
When we got here at 9 o'clock, there were already people queuing up, and by the time we opened there were probably more than 100 people.
People funnelled into the Rotary Club's sale around 10 a.m. yesterday, some having waited outside since before 8:30 a.m. While the day itself was a huge success, convener Ellie Ludeman says the event has been a while in the planning.
It's been a month-long project. On the 1st of May, Duck Shooting Day, the old boys helped us move all the books from the container to the venue here, and we've been sorting books madly since then. We counted up to about 1 zillion and then gave up counting.
She says many of the books donated this year still had pricing on them from previous year's sales. She says that shows there are many community-minded locals.
The public are really, really generous with their donations, which makes it a wonderful community project. A lot of people bring books and say we'll be back to buy more, and we notice sometimes we price some books and we notice books come back with last year's prices, so we know they've bought them and have brought them back, and then they buy more.
In previous years, the funds raised by the sale went towards Oamaru Hospital's chemotherapy chairs and the Oamaru Kindergarten Association's new van. Ludman says it was a great team effort between the community and the Rotary. In Oamaru, the South Today.
Canterbury's Mount Hutt ski area is planning to be open in less than 2 weeks' time. Staff say they hope to have the ski field open by the 11th of June. Located less than 2 hours' drive inland from Christchurch, the ski area has already accumulated a good blanket of snow. This season will see the opening of the new Norwest Express. The ski lift is New Zealand's first 8-seater detachable express chairlift. It boasts a ride time of just 2 minutes, carrying capacity of up to 3,000 people per hour, which more than doubles the efficiency of the former 4-seater lift. Southlanders were able to learn more about the region's biggest natural hazard recently. About 100 people attended a travelling roadshow which explains the potential risks from an earthquake along the Alpine Fault.
A crowd turned up for the Invercargill leg of the Science Beneath Our Feet tour, which is run as a collaboration between the science community and civil defence. Organiser Alice Lake Hammond says the tour helps the public become more aware of the seismic hazards presented by the Alpine Fault.
It's an opportunity to share what we do know about the Alpine Fault and also some great ideas around how we can be better prepared for those impacts of the next Alpine Fault earthquake. So in a setting where community also have an opportunity to ask questions and understand what that means for them.
While scientists can't predict when earthquakes occur, research has shown that the Alpine Fault has a history of generating regular, large earthquakes, with the next major one likely to occur within the lifetime of most of us.
The Alpine Fault is our largest natural hazard here in the South Island. It has potential to have quite a large event that will affect all of us. Everyone here in the South Island will feel this event and we'll all experience impacts either direct or indirect from that.
The tour started 11 weeks ago and finished on Tuesday, having visited 14 towns and 15 schools. Lake Hammond says the roadshow chooses speakers with specific expertise for each South Island region.
So when we're in Kaikoura, we have different speakers who've been involved in the Kaikoura earthquake response. In Blenheim, we had a speaker who could also speak to the Hikarangi subduction zone and the tsunami risk that poses, so that we're really able to answer those questions at a local level and provide people with information that is of most relevance to them.
The roadshow finished at Northern Southland College in Lumsden. In Southland, the South Today.
Still to come on the South Today. We meet a travelling Kiwi musician back in Dunedin. We'll see you after the break.
If you support New Zealand music, tune in this Saturday from 1 p.m. Listen to over 30 musicians play for the Southern TV New Zealand Music Month Extravaganza.
well-maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
Ah, TV, our favourite babysitter. But it can be tough keeping up with what our tamariki are watching. Luckily, the Broadcasting Standards Authority has made some smart changes to the classification labels. Ooh! Plus changes to the time of day certain rated shows will air, and awesome new parental lock features, meaning your babysitter's job is safe. Find out more at safeviewing.co.nz.
Inside are all sorts of innovations from all over China.
Welcome back. A new report from the Otago Regional Council says any future plans to redevelop Dunedin's Forbury Park site should include using some or all of the land to combat flood hazards for the wider South Dunedin area. The report says it's essential to use all of Dunedin's remaining vacant sites to create improved resilience for the wider community. This will allow the community to cope with risks from seismic hazards, heavy rainfall and elevated sea level events. The report says risks would be decreased if the site or part of the site was used to cope with natural hazards. The report will be presented to councillors for their endorsement at a meeting tomorrow. Songwriter Matt Joe Gow has been generally based in Melbourne for a good few years. However, a myriad of reasons saw him return home to Dunedin several months ago. Not one to let the grass grow under his feet, Gow is still working on a new album with the bandmates in Melbourne while he reacquaints himself with his hometown.
Hey, brother. Walking into familiar Dunedin music venue Dog with Two Tails, travelling songwriter Matt Joe Gow is currently residing in his hometown for a while, for a variety of reasons.
Yeah, I came back because my mother's not been very well. So it was sort of a family reasons to support her. So that was the main reason. Obviously, with COVID, most people want to be with their family, at times like that. So I was no different. Came back to spend time with her.
Gow returned to Aotearoa in September last year and went straight into 2 weeks of managed isolation, with all which that entails. He says while he's returning home for family reasons, he says coming back to his old musical stomping ground is providing some lighter relief in darker times.
There's been silver lining, which has been the opportunity to play music and to reacquaint myself a bit more with New Zealand and play more here, which has been a wonderful opportunity. So yeah, that's helped.
As well as spending time with whānau and making music with southern musicians, he's also touring the country and playing some quite out-of-the-way spots.
And an example of sort of things that I just didn't expect, like you fly in and maybe play Dunedin, Wellington, Auckland or something, but to drive a couple hours from Dunedin to Ophir and be playing in a town hall to a packed audience was great. Yeah, it was a real surprise. Yeah.
Gow is still working on a new album with his bandmates in Australia, which is kind of becoming a tale of two cities. having a modern version of a post-pack relationship, sending audio files back and forth between Dunedin and Melbourne.
Actually, just before lockdown, COVID lockdown, I'd finished tracking a new album in Melbourne. And so my time here, I've managed to mix and master that record remotely with my production team back in Australia. Marvels of technology.
While back home, he says Dunedin's music scene has changed considerably since his formative years.
Growing up here, the remnants of Flying Nun and all that, and so now to have seen that dissipate somewhat, venues shut down. That's kind of the way it is all over the world, but I think there's a lot of fight left in Dunedin. You know, they want to retain that which is a massive part of the overall culture here, and that is the music scene. So,
during his nationwide tour, Matt Joe Gow has a few shows in Dunedin this week. A show on Friday the 28th at Dog with Two Tails with rising stars Tall Folk. Then a Songwriters in the Round session with Melissa and the Doctor and Joe Little at Screaming Rooster on the 29th. Finishing up the weekend with a solo show Sunday afternoon at the Galley in Port Chalmers. In Dunedin, the South Today.
After the break on the South Today, we hear about the supermoon set to grace the skies tonight, and we check out the weather.
If you're at risk of developing melanoma skin cancer, you owe it to yourself to have a mole map. Mole map is coming to your area. Phone today to make an appointment. It could save your life.
If you support New Zealand music, tune in this Saturday from 1 p.m. Listen to over 30 musicians play for the Southern TV New Zealand Music Month Extravaganza.
A poorly maintained heat pump can lose up to 35% of its output. The Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner team are experts. Their specially developed chemical wash is totally biodegradable. Call Mr. Heat Pump Cleaner and get the job done by the professionals.
Hi, Lindsay here from Alex Campbell Menswear. We've opened another pop-up store in Invercargill. It's for a limited time. We're in D Street, 201, right beside the Lone Star. Come and check us out. We've got some fantastic deals for you. We've got moleskins, we've got every sort of shirt, worn ones, work ones, business, merino knitwear, jeans, trousers, you name it, the list goes on. It's such a big deal. Come and see us.
Alex Campbell Menswear, it fits.
Alex Campbell Menswear, pop-up store, D Street, Invercargill.
MTF Finance can help you turn the key on your next vehicle with a loan made just for you. TCs and lending criteria apply.
Welcome back. Clear skies across the south tonight are set to allow the public to get a good look at the rare eclipse of the moon. Called a super blood moon, the event is a rare combination of three factors: a full moon, the moon being at its closest point to Earth in its orbit, and the total lunar eclipse. The supermoon will appear rusty red in colour and larger than usual as it coincides with the total lunar eclipse for the first time since 1982. Starting just before 10 p.m, the eclipse will reach totality just after 11 p.m. Highlanders CEO Roger Clark is confident the side's game against the Melbourne Rebels will go ahead on Sunday. Doubts have been cast over the Super Rugby Trans-Tasman match following a 72-hour pause on the travel bubble from Melbourne after a new COVID-19 outbreak in the city.
The Highlanders' home game in Queenstown against the Melbourne Rebels is up in the air, quite literally.
But look, it's at the end of the day, they've got to pack their bags to go to Queenstown on Saturday morning, so it'll either be Saturday morning to Queenstown or it'll be Saturday morning somewhere else.
Highlanders CEO Roger Clark is hopeful the game will be played in Queenstown as scheduled.
We're really confident the game will go ahead in Queenstown as scheduled, 2:35 on Sunday. Obviously, there's a bit of water to go under the bridge, but at the moment, confident the game will go ahead.
But if it emerges the Rebels are unable to leave Australia due to COVID-19, the game may be played in Sydney. The Rebels will relocate to the New South Wales city today and will fly out of there to New Zealand when the 72-hour period ends. Highlanders assistant coach Ricky Flutie is hopeful rugby will be the winner on the day.
Our prep going over to Perth was really good. We had a couple of days, well, a day or so to get back, and the boys have recovered really well.
However, if it emerges the Rebels are unable to fly out, the Highlanders will travel to Sydney Saturday morning. If the game doesn't go ahead, each team will be awarded 2 points. In Dunedin, the South Today.
And now recapping tonight's top stories on the South Today. Government says Dunedin's new hospital is on track, but will only have the same number of beds as the current one. Oamaru's rabid readers enjoy the Rotarians' Bookarana, snapping up bargains to aid a local charity. And all you want to know about alpine faults and tectonic plate movement was on offer at a recent roadshow. Now for a look at what's happening in tomorrow's ODT. Welcome, Barry.
Hello, Sophie.
Good evening.
Forbury Park Trotting Club's chairman can focus on looming challenges after surviving a bid to oust him and two other members at a recent board meeting. So business as usual. Lots of challenges there, and of course we have more details on the options for the sale of Forbury Park, and a synthetic track is apparently on the drawing board as well. So some innovation there which could be exciting. We have reaction, of course, to the business plan for the new Dunedin Hospital. National MP, List MP Michael Woodhouse says the board numbers, the bed numbers are ridiculous, and despite promises, the business case has not been publicly released yet, so we're still awaiting that. Otago Regional Council is likely to stick with its rates rise of 47% next year, but the final decision on that will be made at its meeting tomorrow. And student life, we have lots of versions of that. Here's another one. So students are being armed with high-tech traps to combat rats in their flats. So there you go. Whilst doing that is also helping to develop plans for a future predator control. So it's all part of some scientific experiment, and a result might be better protection. Talking about the blood moon, well, our photographers are out and about, and look out for that in tomorrow's paper. We hope to have visuals on that. We've already done an early one, which looks pretty impressive. So yeah, it's going to be exciting.
All right, we'll keep our eyes out tonight. Thank you, Barry. And now for a look at the weather.
Tonight's weather proudly brought to you by Mole Map.
Beginning with the southern view, demolition work in progress at Dunedin's new hospital site. Looking at the situation, a period of cold southerly airflow will arrive on Friday and last through the weekend, with some rain likely at times for most of the region and snow at higher levels on the ranges. Starting off at the northwest of the South Island, mostly cloudy with 13 degrees in both Greymouth and Westport. Moving to the northeast of the South Island, mostly sunny here with 14 degrees in Nelson and 15 in Blenheim. Down to Canterbury, mostly sunny here as well with 15 degrees in Kaikoura, 13 in Christchurch and 14 in Ashburton. To the southern towns, freshening northerlies, high cloud increasing and 13 degrees for the Catlins, Balclutha, Lumsden and Gore. To the Southern Lakes area, it's moderate northerlies, high cloud increasing and 13 degrees for Queenstown and Wanaka, similar and 14 degrees in Alexandra, and in Te Anau you can expect fresh northerlies, rain later in the day and 12 degrees. To the northern towns, on the coast light northeasterlies and some high cloud with 14 degrees in Timaru and Oamaru. Inland, moderate northerlies, high cloud increasing and 14 degrees for both Twizel and Omarama. In Dunedin, fine and cold tonight with a low of 1 degree. Mostly fine and sunny tomorrow with moderate northeasterlies, a high of 13 and a low of 7. Overcast on Friday with periods of rain and cold southwesterly winds becoming fresh to strong by the middle of the day, a high of 9 and a low of 5. And in Invercargill, fine and cold tonight with frost and a low of 2 degrees. Milder tomorrow, fine with high cloud increasing and northerlies freshening. Some rain tomorrow night with colder southwesterlies, a high of 14 and a low of 8. Cloudy and cold on Friday with rain easing to showers. Fresh gusty southeasterly winds, a high of 9 and a low of 5. That's all for our news this Wednesday. For the latest news from the southern region, head online to odt.co.nz or follow Channel 39 on Facebook and YouTube. Thanks for joining us. Ka kite anō.
This bulletin proudly brought to you in association with Alex Campbell's Menswear.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.